this is what awaits you if you fail, if you give up. Is this for fucking 50 years? Bowing and scraping, begging for the crumbs of life, right? Submitting to another fucking man in perpetuity because you were too much of a pussy to try. The question is, would it be too distracting for you guys if I had the lights rotate color? I usually have them as a fixed one. If that's going to be a distraction in my class, we'll cut it out right now. One person from the last law, one kind soul, kind student soul within this very university, referred to me as their virtual mentor, and I appreciated that. However, if I haven't introduced myself properly, the mistake is mine. I am your professor, Professor Tariq Haux, and this is Rap Life University. But virtual mentor, hey, I'll take it. So we did law number 9 to recap. Win through actions, never through argument. The biggest takeaway from that law was you cannot teach a person anything. I love that quote. You can only help them discover the truth for themselves. The truth is rarely heard, seldom heard. It is always seen. You can lead the horse to the water, and then when it doesn't want to face the truth, you beat it with a stick, and then you get the camel, and then you leave. All right, so we're doing number 10, infection, avoid the unhappy and the unlucky. It's gonna be such a good day. I feel good. It's Rap Life University lecture number 10 of the 48 Laws of Power. We just did book number 20, Meditations. We're working on Rich Dad, Poor Dad, which will be book number 21. We're well underway. Here we go. The notes to begin. So avoid the unhappy and unlucky. I wonder why. I wonder why. You are the first quote that I had with these notes is this, and this was a lesson I had to reiterate the last year over and over and over again. And I've said this in prior lectures before, but you don't know that you're surrounded by a world of fucking losers until you surround yourself with killers, professionals. That you think all the garbage behavior that you're tolerating is normal, and it's not. It's not. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You are the sum of them in terms of their physique, in terms of their alcohol or drug consumption, in terms of their bank account, in terms of their debt, in terms of everything. You are the aggregate. If show me 5 criminals that you hang around with, I can only guess what you're gonna become. Is this distracting? I can make it a fixed color. And it's true. And I remember when I hit rock bottom, May 21st, 2023, and I had to do the audit of who are my friends, who are my closest associates, who do I spend the most time with? It was drug addicts and it was alcoholics. And it was fucking losers. And I lived with drug addicts and alcoholics and a prostitute and just fucking losers. And I was surrounded, I didn't have a car, I was taking the bus. And I was surrounded by losers. Losers. It's not to say people who are all in this financial, socioeconomic class are losers, but the vast majority who are lazy, ignorant, don't want to improve, don't want to level up, don't want to grow, are content being a fucking slave for the rest of their life. I consider that a fucking loser. Who are content with a life of slavery forever. That is who I was surrounded by with every day. Can you imagine who I would have became being surrounded by those losers? Answer, a fucking bum. To where I had no pride in my appearance, didn't show up correct, unprofessional in terms of my etiquette. What was my indulgence, which is something like taking mushrooms or MDMA or whatever, ecstasy at a festival, from delayed gratification, was my surroundings and my associates and my friends there every day. And so I learned the hard way, not the hardest possible way, but the hard way. As in, it took me to reach rock bottom when I got the most disrespect from somebody who I considered to be my best friend. To say, fuck this, I'm changing my life. Like, that's what it took. To be disrespected by somebody whose life I've changed in every category. Physically, financially in terms of her literacy, helping her out of an abusive relationship, all these things. And the level of disrespect I was given, I was just said, this isn't fucking cute anymore. And I said that when I was taking the bus and coming home to a prostitute as my neighbor and being surrounded by drug addicts and alcoholics and getting the dumbass texts and DMs of these stupid ass reels from these fucking idiots, these clowns, these fucking losers that I considered my friends. These cucks, the ones who are too much of a pussy to tell their woman, no, this is the law, this is it. And when I say a cuck, I'm saying men in today's world lack leadership and lack the confidence to speak the truth. They're not even the king of their own castle, to where their woman gives them opportunity after opportunity to not tolerate disrespect, that they fail over and over and over again, to the point where they can't respect them. Because you've shown yourself as a man that you are someone who tolerates disrespect. If you tolerate disrespect, I, as the woman, how can I then respect you? And those are who I was surrounding myself with. These people who, no, my wife I gotta be home at this time, and I've been here for 45 minutes in the gym, and it was fucking embarrassing. And I said, what the fuck am I hearing right now? How do you consider yourself a man? And this was my friends, these were my influences, these were my role models, these are the people who I wanted to be? No. And so in terms of avoid the unhappy and the unlucky, what I learned through traveling, what I learned through entrepreneurship, what I learned through these alcoholic, loser, bum, drug addict friends, I'll keep doing that, is there was always a story. There was always a victim narrative. There was always woe is me. There was always a pity party. It was always somebody else's fault. And that was the same rhyme or reason. No, I have to work this job, and I have to live here, and I can't get a divorce, and this because of X, Y, Z, which was all bullshit cover front for I'm too much of a pussy. I'm too scared to be a man, to take action, to be decisive, to speak the truth. And that's who I was surrounded by. Fucking cowards and pussies that I deemed my friends. And so when it comes to avoiding the unhappy and the unlucky, it's as contagious. Cowardice is as contagious as courage. If you're surrounded by a bunch of pussies, do you think you're gonna have the confidence to go up to that attractive girl? No. If you're surrounded by guys who make you walk taller, do you think it's gonna be hard for you to go up and shoot your shot with the person that you find attractive? No. It's gonna be easy. They're gonna give you that level of, who cares if you fail or not? It's like playing the game on cheat mode, on God mode, right? You have that aura by the positive, uplifting, encouraging men of character, women of character and caliber that you choose to surround yourself with, right? How many people do you know in their garden of a life surround themselves with fucking idiots for the sake of company? I know people who stay in shitty relationships because it's normal and it's familiar and it's better to them. A worse pain to them would be being alone. So they would rather endure this bullshit, this fucking mediocrity, this settlement, than the life they actually want, because they're too much of a pussy to walk away. And that's what it is. I've done phone calls with women who were sexually, physically, all of the leads abused, and I said, what the fuck am I hearing? Kick this, I was gonna say the F-A-G-G goat word, kick this bum out of your house. What am I hearing? The guy who's not contributing, not providing in any way, and then he beats you and rapes you and all this. Do you know what she said to me? I'm not about to ruin my life taking advice from a stranger on the internet. And I couldn't believe it. I was in disbelief. I said, you not doing what I say and you continuing to get abused sexually and physically, that's not ruining your life, but the encouragement for me to kick this fucking idiot out of your life, that's ruining it? And then when I dug deeper, and I put this in my notes, I said, Tark, what is she about to lose? And it goes to her human needs. There are six human needs in this life. Tony Robbins goes over this. A lot of the other personal developments, they all touch on this. The number one human need is significance. It's a broad term for saying I'm important, I feel valued, I matter, my existence means fucking anything, right? People crave significance as much as they crave food. It's the significant, I feel appreciated. You give one guy a compliment, he'll remember that forever. Appreciated. No one feels appreciated, like anyone gives a fuck about them. That's why they scream. When you see an adult scream in public, it's a child throwing a tantrum saying, somebody please notice me. Somebody please validate my existence. Please confirm that I matter in the fucking slightest. That's why they get the 50 tattoos and the 100 piercings and dye their hair every color of the rainbow and join the LGBT LMNOP. It's significance is what they're after. Significance, the number one human need. Next one is certainty. Certainty. We need a sense of certainty because otherwise we'd freak the fuck out. We need a sense of security. It makes us feel safe. And that's why people live the rat life. They get the security of the paycheck. So it's like, okay, I know I'm gonna have this coming in to pay my bills. It gives them a sense of, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm safe. But if you knew when it was gonna happen, where it was gonna happen at all times in your life, you'd be bored as fuck, right? That wouldn't be life worth living. So the third human need is uncertainty. We need variety. It's what makes life worth living. It gives you flavor. right? Where you don't know what everything's going to happen. Now, these values shift on people's the priority of these shift on people's values. Some people value certainty more than others. Some people are more comfortable with higher levels of risk. So I have been forced to be able to operate with a shitload of uncertainty and still keep my sanity. But that's the beauty about that, is you develop such a great degree of stress tolerance. But most people don't have that mental fortitude to weather that kind of a mental storm, to have an abundant amount of uncertainty. Because then if you have too much, you sort of freak out. And that's what happens by force when you do something like pursue entrepreneurship. You have no idea where your next sale is coming from, and if you're all in, then your rent is on the line, your next meal is on the line. And so the beauty of that, though, is you learn the beauty of how resourceful you become when necessity demands it. The quote from, it's a lot of generals, Alexander the Great, Genghis Khan, I believe Julius Caesar, when they would conquer foreign islands, they would order their soldiers to burn their boats upon arrival. And the reason is because they left them absent choice. They were either going to take the fucking island or they were going to die. People, when they come, this quote from Tony Robbins, when they come to dying or succeeding, they tend to succeed. The problem is we give ourselves a way out, a plan B, an scapegoat. But when you're all in and you have to pull it off, this is why when you have a kid, even if you've never been able to afford one, you fucking find a way, because now necessity demands it, right? Or if somebody gets sick in your family, you never can make another dollar, but all of a sudden you find the means to pay for whatever medicine that you need. People, urgency and necessity inspire action from people who otherwise wouldn't. And I learned this from entrepreneurship, as in I would only do enough sales to clear my overhead expenses, and then I wouldn't work too much beyond that. It's human nature just to survive, not to thrive, right? Uncertainty. The fourth one is love connection. I love the quote by Tony Robbins that he says, connection is the breadcrumbs of love. We settle for connection all the fucking time, but what everybody really wants is love. What everyone really wants is intimacy. Intimacy, Terry Crews defines as you seeing me raw, not just having sex, but you seeing me completely vulnerable, all my insecurities, all my flaws, all my shortcomings, for who I am, and still loving me anyway. Not liking me, not enduring me or tolerating me, loving me in spite of all of these things that I'm showing you are my defects, if you will. That's what everybody craves, is somebody who sees them and chooses to love them anyway. They'll give that person the fucking world. That's 4, love connection. 5 is growth. Tony Robbins defines progress as happiness, right? If you are not progressing, you are dying, okay? And so people in life, and this is why most people fall into states of depression, is they're no longer progressing. This is why people play video games, because when you play a video game, you feel like you're leveling up and you're growing and you're getting new gear and new spells and abilities, and you're able to adventure into new areas of the map. You're progressing so much in the game, you're getting so much dopamine from all these progress. You know that if you write down a goal and then you cross it off, you get a hit of dopamine. So when you're on a quest and you turn in a quest and you complete the quest, you get a dopamine hit from that. So that's why people are addicted to video games and shit that isn't even fucking real, because they get a sense of progress within their output, within their actions. Versus in IRL, playing the video game of life, it's the equivalent of a bamboo tree. So when you plant a bamboo seed, whatever, it takes 5 years for that plant to break through the ground. It's similar to an iceberg, the iceberg effect. So you have all of this work that you don't see any fruit of your labor, just like when you do a transformation, a bodybuilding transformation for the first time, and you're doing your training and you're doing the cardio and you're doing your supplements, you're doing your diet, and you don't see any fruit of your labor resulted in the mirror. And the people who quit before they make it to until, they'll never see that come to fruition. So you have to persevere. You have to have the courage to pursue until, right? This is going amazing. But that's how we derive progression and happiness. Happiness from progression. Most people do it in the video games, in garbage. That's not real, because it's too much work to do it in real life. There's too much pain in the failure. There's too much letdown. A lot of people don't like looking less than in front of their peers. They don't like making the videos that are getting 130, 10 views. You can go back to, I remember when I posted that it was a 2-hour lecture and it got like 7 views for the longest time. It was The Ultimate Gift by Jim Stovall. And I said, this is a 1,000 book quest. I don't give a fuck if these get 1 view. you understand? Because I know the severity of these. I shared the vision with my family today at lunch. They were visiting Southern California. And I said, I'm doing these first 100 books is what anyone will ever need, anywhere in the world with a Wi-Fi connection, to be given every tool and resource and lesson and implementation and the wisdom and knowledge that they could possibly need to escape their rat life. Regardless of their circumstance, starting point, demographic, doesn't matter. All of these books, these first 100, anything you could possibly need to escape the rat life forever. The key to your escape. In the future, with AI, these lectures will be able to be translated in every language that exists. Meaning, any kid with a Wi-Fi connection anywhere in the world who knows about Rat Life and Rat Life University, in any language, will be able to have access to this library, education they never would have had in their entire life. People don't know books like this exist. That Portuguese kid who doesn't speak English, that kid in Siberia, Kazakhstan, anywhere in the world, they'll be given the same education, the same possibility, access, key to freedom than anyone else, right? In the entire world. That's the severity of this quest. And I said, better yet, not only can we give people the key to their escape from their current enslavement, their current slavery, if we reach the kids younger, we could give them the key to never be enslaved in the first place, to avoid the entire rat life trap to begin with. The indoctrination in modern education, going to school, getting student loan debt, fucking mortgage debt, credit card debt, financing your car, having insurance on all this shit, interest accruing on all this shit, where you're stuck as a fucking slave in perpetuity until you die. We could avoid all of that. We could free the fucking world with the severity of this quest. It's not my ability to make these videos, it's my responsibility to. And I understand that with every single one, these beautiful bricks we're laying one at a time, planting these little seeds in this garden. One day, we'll be able to plant trees around the entire world under whose shade we will never sit. So who gives a fuck if a video gets 1 view or 2 views now? It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant when you zoom out and understand the vision, the big picture of why we're doing this. Next. Growth, progression. You get happiness, but do you know where you get 10 times the happiness? Is the 6th human need, which is contribution. You feel good when you get something, when you give something to yourself. You feel great when you do something for somebody else that requires time, energy, thought, care, consideration, effort when they're not in the room. Why? You elicit oxytocin when you do that. You even get oxytocin witnessing good. If you see someone pick up trash off the ground, you get a hit of oxytocin. How fascinating that our bodies are created to feel better from giving to others. It's magnificent, it's fucking magical. That's you. You're magical in your divinity, but you don't do it. And I'm speaking for myself. I wouldn't do it. I would just focus on, you have to be selfish though, in the grind. You cannot pour from an empty cup. I would spill this out, but I actually want to drink it. You can't give what you don't have. So I make it a priority to be as selfish as possible so that I become so much more, so that in turn I have so much more to give others. Do you understand? But those are the 6 human needs. Is significance the number one. People will shoot other people to get significance, to put their face in the news, whatever. They'll do anything. If I point a gun to you on a scale of 1 to 10, I'm plagiarizing this from Tony Robbins, plagiarizing. How significant am I as a person in your life at this time? Probably a fucking 10, right? How certain am I that you're going to respond to me in a manner that's, probably agreeable to what I'm asking? Probably a 10. So when somebody is in an abusive relationship and I ask myself, hey, what are they about to lose? They're about to lose significance. This person might be the only person who fucking texts them in their life, right? They're going to lose that. They are about to lose certainty. They know, even if they don't know who they're going to come home to, I'll get to that in the next one, they know that they're going to come home to this person, that they can ward off other people. It's pretty sick, but if the mindset of an abused woman from a survival standpoint will be like, oh, if he can do this to me, he can do this to ward off other attackers. It's sick and twisted, but that is a thought. Third one is uncertainty. Who knows what kind of person I might come home to? Maybe I come home to the horn dog who jumps on me. Maybe I might come home to the drunk who beats me, right? And then love connection. They may get laid sometimes or not consensually, but that's another one. And then growth. There is no growth in a relationship where you're watering a dead plant, where it's not a give and take, where you're not watering each other, so they don't get that one. And then contribution, it's just giving and no taking, so they don't get that one. But they're about to lose 4 in a fucking heartbeat. Do you see? So the greater pain to them is what they're about to lose, whether they are aware of it or not, than enduring the abuse. And a lot of people live in the term is a learned state of helplessness, to where it's not as bad as it could be, it's not as bad as they've endured in the past. So it's like, oh, he only beats me. Oh, he only manipulates me. He only gaslights me. He only hits me sometimes, you know, but it's not as bad as this partner. It's not as bad as this instance. It's not as bad as what he used to do. And what do? The fucking victim of their life and their story. The coward. They're pussies. They're too much of afraid to walk away because they're more, I was going to say, shitting their pants of the idea of being fucking alone and healing and confronting the fucking truth and standing up to the bully or reporting him and calling the police, doing whatever, courageous fucking act, than just enduring this, just being the perpetual fucking victim, leading a quiet life of desperation. Which one takes more courage to do? You know what I'm saying? Easier said than done, perhaps. However, what's the alternative? What's the alternative? And why the fuck would you choose to live a life like that in the one that you have? And people will use any sort of vain excuses all the time. I can't get a divorce because of my kids. I can't do this because of this. And it's all bullshit cover front because you're too much of a pussy to take action. And you like to blame everything else and every other circumstance, condition, event that's not fucking you. It's pathetic. So those are all the human needs that this person could lose in a fucking heartbeat. The learned state of helplessness, the worst thing that they do is they justify and rationalize the person's behavior. That's the worst thing that they do. Oh, this isn't really him. And I put that in my next note. And I think it's from this one. Otherwise, I was going to put it in a different law in terms of avoiding the unhappy and the unlucky. But that's what they do, is they'll justify and rationalize their behavior. And because they'll remember the guy who courted them. They'll remember the guy who bought them flowers, who used to compliment them, who used to take them out on nice dates. And so when they show them all of these atrocities, who they actually are, and they just got, comfortable enough to where now I got my talons in her, and now I can actually be, give myself permission to be myself. They think back to all those good times, and then they'll diminish their behavior currently and be like, oh, this isn't really him. That good guy who didn't beat the fuck out of me, no, he's still in there. And so now you feel a sense of responsibility that you could reach him, you could get through to that guy, because deep down he's still in there. And so what he'll do is once in a while, once in every 100 abuses, he'll do something nice for you. He'll compliment you this, and then you forgive and forget all the other 99. And that's how they have you manipulated for the totality of the abusive relationship. And that's how you become an expert in this entire book in a negative and abusive way, if that is your prerogative. But I've helped so many people coaching them through abusive relationships that I know all of these things just by observation, just by interaction, just by my own personal experience with the unhealed, with the ones who bleed on other people who didn't cut them because they don't tend to their own wounds, and just understanding that in the lifetime of lifetimes, nobody's scenario is unique. And people think it is. People think that they're the only person to have experienced this level of manipulation or gaslighting or whatever, and you understand that everyone's story is the fucking same. It's just different names. Everyone stays in the same situation for the same fucking reasons, the same excuses, and it's all down to fear. At the end of the day, it's always just fear. And it's just pinpointing where the fear lies. Is it fear of being alone? Is it fear of looking stupid in front of other people? When you start a business that's getting no sales or getting 2 views, and you don't want to look less than, from your peers in the eyes of others. Is it fear of failure? You don't want to look, again, humiliation, stupid from these third-party fucking losers whose opinions are, for some reason, are holding so much weight into your life. Fear of X, Y, Z. But do you see how all of these things tie in to avoiding the unhappy and the unlucky? And when you think about all the human needs that they're about to lose if they were to walk away, these are all the things that are going around in the victim mind. The ones who do not have the courage to pursue. And sometimes that pursuit can mean getting the fuck out of there. Moving out, getting a breakup, getting a divorce, filing the paperwork. That takes courage that most people don't have. And so what do? Is they hide the real truth inside, live with the fucking misery, live in a perpetual state of depression, are not progressing in any aspect of their life, and then that's their life. They live a rat life up here, and they're enslaved up here, and so their entire life is enslavement. As free as they might look on the outside, as happy they might look on the fucking internet and the Instagram pictures that they're posting, they're a fucking slave. Next. Humans are extremely susceptible to the moods, emotions, and even the ways of thinking of those whom they spend their time. You're the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You will talk like they fucking talk. You will walk like they walk. You'll use the slang that they use. If they use an abundant amount of profanity, That is the vulgarity in your language. It'll be the same etiquette, the same standard. It'll be, and even you're up here, they'll fucking diminish you and bring you down like a thermostat. You come in at 100, but they have it set to 70. It's coming down to 70 because you're 1 against 6. Do you know what I'm saying? You are the sum of those losers, those people. You don't know that you're surrounded by losers until you're surrounded by killers. When I was in junior high, and I would be in the group with my loser dumbass friends, but they were funny, and then I grouped myself with the nerds, I had to be sharper just to compete. As in, it's the same thing in sports. If you play against somebody who's worse than you in any sport, let's take tennis, I did that in high school, you can't get better. If you play against a guy who's varsity higher level than you, you have to run faster, hit harder, return stronger, just to stay on the court, just to compete. They forced you to level the fuck up. It's the same thing in a video game. I would only get better when I played World of Warcraft against players who were better than me. They forced you to be sharper, to be quicker, to react faster, to anticipate more, right? Why? That's the standard, right? They're not a fucking loser. They're not a scrub. You don't understand this if you're surrounding yourself in this world. Do you get it? So it takes you sitting with the nerds if you're in school. It takes you sitting in the front of the class. It takes you being in a job where you're surrounded by professionals with etiquette and professionalism. And that's not to say there's not fucking children in the rat lab, dude. I'm surrounded by them every fucking day. I had to have a very candid conversation with my superior, and dude, I laid it down absent fear of getting fired. I said, you're doing gaslighting. You have a victim narrative. You're projecting emotionally. Quite bold and ballsy to say to your boss, right? But it's that quote, what you tolerate is how you teach others how to treat you. So when people insinuate that I don't have ownership or accountability or character or integrity, I lay down the fucking law. I said, no, let's get something fucking clear here. A to Z, right? And the beauty about that is you act as a fucking mirror to them. And even though that seed that I plant may not take root now, it has the potential only now, because I had the courage to have candor, to have that honest, hard, crucial conversation, for it to one day be planted in the future. That's called planting trees under whose shade you may never sit in your entire life. But that's the whole point of this university, of your own development, is by you becoming better, everyone around you grows, benefits, becomes better as a result of your improvement, your development. You become a better mother, you become a better daughter, a better lover, a better son, right? Better friend, better coworker, a better leader to all of your peers, all of your surroundings, all of your family, all of your friends, your church, fucking everyone, by you improving, right? It's a ripple effect. You improve, you level up, you grow, you get more insight and knowledge and wisdom to then share with this person who shares it with this person, and then dude, that's how you change the world. That's how you change the world. It starts with you, focusing on you. Being selfish is the most selfless thing you could possibly be. Next. Ties in though. You are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. You spend your time with fucking losers and idiots and drug addicts and alcoholics. What the fuck do you think you're gonna be? Oh, but they're funny? Oh, but we have a good time when we get drunk? It's only cute for so long. And then I got to the age, took me until 28 to say this isn't fucking cute anymore. I'm so sick of being broke. I'm so sick of being surrounded by fucking losers who are fucking embarrassing to talk to. They're idiots, right? No longer. That's the day you say enough. And it takes people like me, only able to learn the fucking hard way, for me to touch the stove to know that it's hot, to inspire my action, right? You could learn not the hardest possible way. You don't have to live a perpetual life of slavery or of a physical or sexual abuse in whatever relationship, or mental slavery, enslavement up here, right? You could learn by this video, not by your own failure. However, the truth is what? Never heard. It's only seen, or better yet, it's only felt. You can only make a person realize the truth when they feel it for themselves, when they're finally in a place to receive. Okay? And we said in the last one, don't try to save anybody. Don't exhaust yourself emotionally trying to get through to someone who's not in a place to hear you, to receive you, to be helped by you. Right? So you can have that door open, but understand that I'm gonna love you at a distance. I still want to see you eat, just not at my fucking table, right? Until you're ready. What does it require? Humility. Humility. Most people are so fucking afraid. My boss is a perfect example of this. So afraid to admit her treachery. to admit she's a liar, to admit she's emotionally projects on other people, to admit she has a victim narrative. How much courage does it take for you to say, I'm the problem, it's my fault, I was wrong, I'm a liar? A lot more courage than it is to say, you don't have accountability, you don't have ownership, and then I have to fucking define the definition of gap. You know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of courage to stand up to the bullies, to stand up to the victims of this fucking world, right? But I understand that you do them no fucking favors coddling them. But the thing is, I said in the last video, I'm an anomaly though. I don't have fear of losing my job. I'll go live in my fucking car when my character integrity are being questioned. No qualms with that whatsoever. Most guys, and it's easier for me, I don't have a child yet, don't have a wife yet, right? Most guys have their lives set up so poorly that they're so fucking reliant on their job that they are not in a position to speak the truth. And so one of the biggest goals of this university for me is to make men what they used to be, particularly in this joke of a generation where there's no discipline, there's no self-respect, there's no consideration for others. You're surrounded by arrogance and ego and fucking fag goats. These fucking pricks, these losers, dude, who were never disciplined, who were never told no, who were never taught respect for themselves or for others. They slammed their weights in the gym. They're just these fucking clowns, these peasants, these parasites. But to develop men who simply, even if the only thing we achieve from this university is to give men the fucking courage to speak the goddamn truth, I'd consider that a victory. Because I see it all the time, the fucking cowardice. And when I look at these men, I say, how the fuck do you look at yourself in the mirror, let alone come home with any sort of pride or chest, you know, walking tall to your wife when you know the kind of man that you are? Blows my fucking mind, man. I always say to myself when I see it, and maybe this is why I'm, you know, it's my nature's design to have this assignment right now, to be enduring this, that all it is reaffirming the man that I will never fucking be, the position I will never put myself in, for me or for my family. That's the severity of this university and this noble quest, is this is what awaits you if you fail, if you give up. Is this for fucking 50 years? Bowing and scraping, begging for the crumbs of life, right? Submitting to another fucking man in perpetuity because you were too much of a pussy to try. Next. They often present themselves as victims, making it difficult at first to see their miseries as self-inflicted in terms of the unhappy and the unlucky. And it's always that case. The unhappy and the unlucky, Grant Cardone talks about this in the 10X rule, the characterization of a victim. They're always involved. It's never their fault. It's always somebody else. They always have a story. And it's at a certain point, especially as you age, and I'll say this, and I've said this before, at a certain point you gotta fucking stop feeling sorry for yourself, quit bitching and moaning, and do something about it. Like, I know we live in the snowflake coddle culture, participation trophy, here's my pronouns, non-binary. Like, that's the fucking world that we live in, and it's a joke. And it's like, at some point you gotta tell a kid, quit being a bitch, quit being a pussy, try again, get the fuck up, quit feeling sorry for yourself, you know, act like you belong here, right? But we don't want to hear that in modern education. We want to give everyone a participation trophy. We want to do DEI, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and make sure everybody feels, safe. And it's a joke. It's fucking clown world. When in reality is, I saw a great video, I think it was by Eric Weinstein. We should encourage intolerance, as in merit, as in if you can't fucking compete, no, you don't belong here. I don't give a fuck what your skin color is, or what you identify as, or what your sexual orientation is, you know. Go get fucked, go fuck yourself, be better, become more, compete, right? I don't give a shit to give everybody tied second place. No, there's a winner and there's a fucking loser, right? Work harder, become more, try again. You make the kid so fucking soft if you don't teach them about failure, about learning, about perseverance, willpower, trying again, right? Failure isn't a negative thing. You only learn and grow in the iteration. How can we improve in this video game? Where did we go wrong? How can we improve in this sale, right? In this, what do? You script. This was the objection. Okay, now let's practice. If I get another customer with this objection, how am I going to overcome this? Oh, maybe this is what I'll say. That comes from failure. And then you learn, and then you improve, and then you grow. You grow fiscally, financially, in terms of more sales coming in. It's the same fucking thing, right? But if we were to give participation trophies to everybody, then we wouldn't be competing, we wouldn't be growing. What are we talking about? What the hell are we talking about here? That's modern day education. That's the severity of Route Life University. I want to be the pillar, the beacon of hope for the world. Fuck DEI. Tarek Hawks. Next. There is only one solution to infection in terms of unhappy and unlucky, and it is an infection. It's a fucking disease. The depressed, the negative, the excuse-ridden, the victim. A disease, a cancer. Even in meditations, they describe it just as that. A malady that cannot be cured. Stay the fuck away from them. The solution from the 48 laws? Quarantine. Quarantine. Even if it's family, which I have, even today, can't have a one day being surrounded by not the possibility of negativity. And I explained to them, I said, this is my garden. I don't fucking tolerate negativity. Get the fuck out of my life with that shit. Oh, but they were, my mom was about to project on me, and she was attempting to, and I cut that shit out real quick. I said, no. She said, you have your door, I said, my door is always open for positivity, encouragement, support, growth. I said, I tell family to get fucked when they insinuate the idea that it's okay to invite negativity, discouragement, any of that garbage into my life, into my garden. I said, no, fuck no, right? And she was criticizing me for, oh, but you need to just forgive this and do this. And I said, no, stop. This is bullshit. No, I don't. What you tolerate is how you teach others how to treat you. If you set the fucking precedent with the unhappy and the unlucky and the depressed and the negative that are family members, and you don't have the balls to tell them to go fuck themselves, the casualty are the people that you could better. But by choosing to have these weeds in your fucking garden, you don't get to become more. So therefore, these people don't get to become more. The most selfless thing you can do is tell your family to go get fucked. It takes more courage than what most people have. And so what's the result? You consciously invite these negative fucking losers, even if they're related to you by blood, into your life. So you feel discouraged, you feel unsupported, you feel depressed, you absorb and tolerate the fucking name calling and all this garbage for the sake of family. And who's the casualty? You're at a job, it's your coworkers, it's your clients, it's your customers, it's your staff, right? It's your church community, it's your friends, the people who you can't harbor gratitude towards because you're so fucking miserable because you're continuing to keep these weeds in your goddamn garden that you can't even admire, enjoy, be grateful for, have happy relationships with all these flowers that are inviting nothing but growth, positivity, encouragement, support. The most selfish thing you can fucking do is keep these dumb fucks in your life for the sake of family, for the sake of cordiality. No. If it's negativity, if you do not invite positivity, encouragement, support, get the fuck out of my life, period. That's the standard. That is the behavior that I tolerate. Nothing fucking else. It has to be that way. This is too important. But most people that go through their life where this is malleable, right? My dreams are malleable. As in, my dreams, maybe they'll work, maybe they won't, because I'm not gonna fucking stand guard at the doorway of my mind. That's the issue. Cowardice. Most people are too afraid to be fucking alone for the betterment of other people than tolerate garbage within their life. They're more afraid of being alone than being surrounded by these people just for the sake of fucking company. And I know I'm kind of butchering that in that statement, but their greater fear is being alone is the point. And I don't have that fear. I've been alone for the vast majority of my life, especially somebody who's always worked to improve and to grow and to develop and to become more and to become better. I'm surrounded by people who are content living a life of mediocrity. And if you have any goddamn cognizance, understanding how finite this life is and you have one to live, I've never been able to understand why the fuck you would choose not to go for it. Why you would choose to not become more, to become better, to grow, to try your best, to go for it. Whether that was a relationship pursuit, whether that was a business venture, whether that was traveling. What the fuck do you have to lose when you're gonna die? I don't understand. Nothing. Everything else is bullshit at the end of the day. When you zero it out, dude, when we put our cards on the fucking table, you understand, oh, I have nothing to lose. All the fear from these other fucking losers are just distractions, are just projections, are just their stories, their limiting beliefs, their insecurities. Go fuck yourself. No, I have nothing to lose by trying ever. I have nothing to lose by being honest with who I am, with how I feel to anyone ever. If I'm honest with this chick and it's not reciprocated, I don't lose them, right? You lose someone when you pretend to be somebody who you're fucking not for the sake of the other person, right? Who do you lose? Your fucking self. So when you're gonna die, I can't reiterate that point enough. What do you have to lose by living a life of honesty, of positivity, of encouragement, of support, of betterment towards others, of being in service for the betterment of others in their lives? Nothing. Fuck. In the future, my profanity will diminish, but I'm so passionate about this position of living a life in the absence of regret, in the absence of what if, right? Cutting the fucking negativity out of your life. Understanding that you can't be your positive, authentic self surrounded by these fucking diseases, the unhappy and the unlucky, right? In the guise of society standards of, no, this is how I'm supposed to be. This is how I'm supposed to be in terms of my internet facade, the mask I put on at the workplace, the mask I put on social media, the bullshit conversations at the Thanksgiving dinner. It's like, no, fuck no, dude, we're gonna die. Let's call a fucking spade here. This is where you need improvement. This is your victim narrative. This is where you're projecting. Like, cut the bullshit. Let's just be fucking honest. That's the whole thing I want to achieve the most within this beautiful garden that I'm creating, is to create an environment where I'm so goddamn authentic that people feel safe to let go. I just want to create that culture of safety, of humility, of betterment, of growth. Because by us being honest, it'll inspire other people to have the courage to be honest, to let go, right? Anything else is bullshit. And that's not my name. Professor Tarek Hawks. What do I stand by? Integrity, honor, character, self-respect, right? Those tenets, those virtues. Courage, goddammit. Humility, not fucking ego, arrogance, not fear, not fucking cowardice. Courage. Okay. Quarantine is the only solution. Judge them by their actions, not their word story. When I was having the conversation with my boss, and she was literally giving me her victim line, I called it out again and again. I said she would go like this, and while we're having a one-on-one, I said, who the fuck are you talking to right now? I didn't say fuck. I said, who are you talking to right now? And it's just, because that's their emotional home, is to be a victim. It's to gaslight. How many people do you know like this? You think they're absolved of this kind of character in the workplace, even at the highest level? No, omni-fucking-present. I had to judge them by their actions, and I couldn't believe everything I was seeing in real time, because I asked God to go into that interaction before me. I said, to replace my heart for this person from bitterness, anger, resentment, spite, please remove all of that, and replace it with gratitude, appreciation, and love. And that's the guy, that calm, stoic, emotionally controlled man who walked into that room. It was God. And to my surprise, and I shared this with Ricardo, I said, I couldn't believe the diagnosis that I did, that I didn't have a script for. But it's because God had done that for me prior to going in. I was able to identify all of it in real time. I was like, wait, I did the mental calculation in my head. In real time, I was like, that's gaslighting, what you just said. You have a victim narrative that you keep, that's her emotional home. She constantly would spew bullshit and then say you don't have accountability, ownership, and then she would have a rhyme or reason how she wasn't affiliated whatsoever. And then this is what the sick, toxic person does. And I know this so many times from calling it out, from observing it, from coaching people, from personal interaction. When you call a toxic motherfucker out on their treachery and they're caught, they smile. They get, I swear to God, they get off on it. Because they know what the fuck that they're doing. And that's the sickest part of the whole thing. It's a fucking game to them. My oldest brother would do this all the time. I've had girls that I've dated in the past do this, where they literally look at you, talk to you, laugh, as if they're getting off. My boss was no fucking different. And it's sick to see. You're such a piece of shit for this kind of fucking behavior that you think is okay. And the fact that you get called out, and I would literally, I identified where she lied to my fucking face. And then the audacity to talk about truth and honesty with me, I said, no, that's complete bullshit. And I identified it, dude, real time. Victim narrative, gaslighting, projection, emotional lack of control, disrespect in public for me and other people. Complete garbage, complete bullshit, that this is not worthy of the title you fucking carry. And I'm considered this on her, this kind of, delusion of a totem pole, and yet I embody the tenets and virtues of what real leadership is. Like, my default thought is, get your fucking shit together. Like, act like you belong here. And the one thought that I really had, that I didn't say, was, you are so fake. You'd think you'd be able to pretend to be a good leader. And that's omnipresent in the workplace that we live in today, is these people are so goddamn fake from the mask that they've worn for 50 fucking years, and the victim that they are, that they've rehearsed, that's their emotional home for decades, that they actually believe their own fucking lies. And so when I act as a goddamn mirror showing them their bullshit, they can't even admit it because they're fucking cowards at the end of the day. So it's judging them by their actions, not by their words. Their words do not mean shit. And if you don't stand guard at the doorway of your mind, you don't have that perspicacity. You're constantly scrolling. Your mind is in a fog. You won't even notice it. And you'll think it's okay. You'll think, oh, that's just how it is. Oh, maybe I don't know any better. No. You do know better. You're just asleep, right? But if you're awake, if you're observant, if you think for your goddamn self, you'd be like, no, this is all bullshit. And maybe a video like this would give you the courage to say, this is bullshit, and have the courage to take that fucking stand. Do you know who gave me the courage to say the truth that I already knew? But I was all like, I don't know if I should say that, was Andrew Tate, when he was talking about the bullshit concept of depression. And that gave me the confidence to say, yeah, depression is fucking bullshit. Because I've been in all these positions, and I've known people who have had horrific atrocities happen to them, sexually, physically, the entire 9 yards, cancer, whatever the fuck. And yet it was always a decision for them to choose to be the hero, to not wallow in self-pity, to not have this bitch and moan party, feeling sorry for themselves, choosing not to fucking do anything about it. Complete decision. And so having the audacity to bitch, moan, kick, scream, feel sorry for yourself, try to elicit sympathy dopamine from other people, the best thing you can do if you love them is tell them to go fuck themselves. But we don't live in a world that says that. We live in a world that says, no, coddle them. No, it's okay. No, you're right. You didn't do anything wrong. It's not your fault. Weird. If it's not their fault, how the fuck can they remedy it? The one power you give them is if it's their fault, all of a sudden they have the power to change, to improve, to grow, to remedy their situation, right? Very convenient when you can't do anything about it. Very convenient. But that's the world that they want you to align with today. No, just take a pill. No, let me just diagnose you with this. No, just something's wrong with you. No, there's a chemical imbalance. Shut the fuck up. It's bullshit. It's a choice, and you're choosing to be a victim motherfucker and you don't belong in this class. Heroes only. Do you understand? I don't give a shit what happened. I don't care what narrative you had, what story you had. We're here to grow. We're here to heal. We're here to let go of all that bullshit. We're here to improve. There's no judgment, there's no condemnation, there's no criticism. I don't give a fuck. Just like I don't give a fuck if you take action or not. It doesn't affect my life in the slightest, right? I love helping people who want to help themselves. I love inspiring that idea that if you have the courage to let go, to put your walls fucking down, to face the truth, to be honest, to be vulnerable, to have humility, you have a chance to be free forever, because it starts here. But if you're too much of a pussy, a coward, to face the fucking truth for what it is, which is it's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault, then you'll never change, then you'll never grow, then you'll never heal. And you'll be one of those sad, bitter, resentful motherfuckers who constantly bleed on people who didn't cut them because you're too much of a pussy to face the truth, to look at yourself in the fucking mirror, to ask yourself those hard questions. How is it my fault? Food for thought. Next. Do not take pity. I underlined not. Do not take pity. Do not try to help. The victim will remain unchanged, but you will be unhinged. And I put the infuriation of trying to help save a victim. I said lesson painfully learned. It's so true. Excuse me. You cannot save somebody who doesn't want to save themselves. It doesn't matter. You can give them every tool, every resource, every lesson. I could give you the chessboard of the next 50 moves that your abusive partner is going to do to you. And I could give you all of the foresights, right? If you do not want to improve, if you don't want to help yourself. If I showed my boss all these things and I said, you're not going to change. I listed them all of them. I said, the reason why is you won't even admit to this, that you know is the truth. And so I said, I know I'm talking to a wall here, so I don't give a shit about this conversation. Because I say, to what end? Because you're too much of a pussy, a coward, to admit what you did when you know this is the truth. but you need time to process, is, oh, that's just not my thing. It's all bullshit. It's all cover. It doesn't take any fucking time to admit you were wrong, to admit all of this bullshit, right? Zero. What does it take? Courage that you don't fucking have. So I don't take an ounce of sympathy on those victims, and I don't harbor any ill will with my lack of trying to save them, because I understand from painful and fruitless attempts, time and time again, you cannot save somebody who doesn't want to help themselves. I can't help transform somebody, even if I'm in the gym, even if I'm waking up with them, holding them accountable, they're paying me. I cannot make somebody do the work. And when it comes to healing, it's inner work, right? And so all you can do is plant those seeds that, in the form of words, in the form of considerations, that years later, when they hit their fucking epiphany phase from some other person, from some other instance, when they're finally in a place to receive, then your words will take root. Then you'll be able to change their life forever. But understanding that until they're in a place to receive, right? It's like you're trying to water, concrete, expecting it to grow. It's like, no, I need that to turn into fucking soil to nourish. And then my water is actually doing something, right? Than watering concrete. I know I pulled that example just out of thin air, but you understand the point. To what end? Am I wasting thousands of dollars of emotions on a 5-cent irritation on a victim motherfucker who's resolved to feel sorry for themselves, to not accept the truth, to not admit that they're at fault, right? To what end? To what end? Why don't I follow Jordan Peterson's advice? If somebody's not listening to you, stop talking to them. And then put your advice and energy and help and desire to help to somebody who wants to help themselves. Not only will you actually be able to get through to them, because they're in a place to receive your help, you'll feel so great about it. Nothing feels better than helping somebody who wants to help themselves. Nothing. You would even be happy to do it for free because you feel so good, because you get so much oxytocin from it. Do you got it? Next. There are people who attract happiness, so the antithesis of the unhappy and unlucky, happiness to themselves by their good cheer, natural buoyancy, and intelligence, and I put you, as in Tarek. They are a source of pleasure, and you must associate with them to share in the prosperity they draw upon themselves. So surrounding yourself with the lucky, just like you're the aggregate, this is some of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Yeah, if you surround yourself with the positive and the lucky and the grateful, what do you think you're going to be? Surround yourself with the positive, charming, confident, generous. Only generous souls attain greatness. Associate with them. Quote from the book. They'll infect you in a great way. And it's true. Surround yourself with people who inspire you with courage to dream bigger. So that was one of the things that I pride myself the most about is, I remember when, if I would be on a dating app, which I don't want to sound like a hypocrite, I did re-download. Just because it's interesting seeing the whole interaction. I don't see anything coming from it, and I also re-downloaded Instagram. But there's a quote from Meditations where he talks about, as part of nature's design, you can detach yourself from the world, but the beauty about life, that humans are the only form of nature that at any time could regraft themselves back on, right? If you were to cut your fucking limb off of the branch of a tree, you can't reconnect it. But us, we can separate, we can heal, we can mend, we can go on our personal journeys of healing and growth, and then when we feel ready, we can go back. And so I feel like on, say, a dating app or on Instagram, which Instagram is a dating app, let's be honest, you can put yourself back on with, now I know I'm not gonna be on scrolling. And I'm so good about myself or have so great self-awareness that if I find myself unable to control the desire to scroll or to waste time or to be distracted, I'll delete the app. But in terms of putting myself back on into the world, since that conversation, I had so much healing in terms of just letting go of, oh, I need to get this job. I had a beautiful audio that I listened to, letting go of the outcome, which is the how. Know what it is you want, that's fine. Work towards it, no problem. Let go of how it comes to pass. So my rhetoric was, oh, I need to get this job. I need to get this job at this time right now. It's like, no, just work towards it. Let go, be indifferent of the outcome. And there's a quote in Meditations that says, you could have everything you want right now, but you keep thwarting your own attempts from not letting go. And so I've been in such a state now of presence to where when I've regrafted myself on this just in the past 2 days, even making this video right now, you can feel such a greater degree of presence here. What I love in the far future, when I'm no longer working the rat life of 9 to 5, these videos will be even more in that divine harmony of complete and utter presence My mind isn't here, not thinking about anything else. Completely here with you in these lectures right now. So I love that idea. And even in the past couple of days, dude, I've talked to so many more people, so many strangers, messages on Instagram, whatever. And it's cool when you can take care of yourself, come back, and now be such a better person for everybody else that you care about in your life. And now who you can have that positive, better effect on. You could be that positive person that other people want to surround themselves with. You know what I'm saying? You become that attractive to others by healing, by tending to your own wounds, by not bleeding on other people who did not cut you, right? Food for thought. It's all food for thought. I'm not going to tell you what to do ever in this university. But you'll notice when you align with God, with truth, with principle, you'll have a life of happiness, abundance, fulfillment. When you align with anything else, report back to me how that life turns out. Next. So yeah, surround yourself with people who inspire you with the courage to dream bigger. That is one of the things that I'm proud of the most is I remember, and that's why I brought up the dating app thing, a few years ago, my bio dating app thing, it said, be careful. If you spend too much time with me, I will brainwash you into believing that you can achieve anything. And it's very, very true. If somebody spends enough time with me, they'll find themselves thinking bigger. They'll find themselves being irresponsible with their dreams. Because it's that quote, how big would you dream if you knew you couldn't fail? People have these parameters on their beliefs of what their the possibilities for them because they never had somebody who believed in them, who gave them the gift of belief, which is the greatest gift you can give anybody, believing in the potential of who they can become. So when you can make a person believe that they're worthy enough, that they're capable of achieving this, they'll give themselves permission to just dream bigger, to where, oh yeah, of course I could do this. Of course I could become a millionaire or a billionaire or travel the world or have a business or have my dream partner, get my dream physique, whatever the case. Okay. But those are the kind of people you want to surround yourself with. Just clones of Tarek Hawks, essentially. Professor Tarek Hawks. Next. There's no malady for contagious, or not for contagious. There's no malady more contagious or deadly. I put for like a fool, but I'm not one. There's no malady more contagious or deadly than surrounding yourself with the fucking unhappy, the unlucky, the depressed, the negative, the victims of this world, the participation trophy motherfuckers. Fuck your pronouns. Next. Do not die from another's misery. Because misery loves company. Victims love people who they can elicit sympathy from. They love it. Do them a favor. Tell them to go fuck themselves. Okay. There's nothing to be gained by associating with those who infect you with their misery. You can't save them. Do you understand? And I have this with even family. Everyone's on their own healing journey. You can't tell someone the truth. You can only help them discover it for themselves. You can only be that beacon of light, of hope, of support, of just understanding that I only have your best interest at heart, and if you can't see that, then that's on you. I don't care. It doesn't matter, because I've tried to help you, and I'm not going to continue to try to save you when you don't want to save yourself. When you're too much of a pussy, a coward, to admit the truth, to face the truth. That requires, like I say, I'll say it 1,000 times, courage, strength, humility people do not have. To put their goddamn walls down, to be vulnerable, to be honest, to actually admit, I don't have it all together. I've made fucking mistakes. I'm actually an undeveloped fucking child, even at this level in the rat life with these made up fucking titles. They're cowards, man. It's that little scared girl, right, who's now 50 or 60, right, trying to satisfy that need of fucking significance, avoiding the fear of, lack of approval from her peers, whatever the fucking case is. Do you understand? But that's what it is. It's fear, it's insecurity, it's limiting beliefs, it's trauma, it's a lack of healing, it's cowardice, right? To not face the fucking truth, to not do the work, which is the inner deep work. All of it takes courage, goddammit. Courage, humility, and strength. That could be evident, the backbone of virtues exalted by my students within this university by your virtual mentor, Tarek Hawks. There is only power and good fortune to be obtained by associating with the fortunate. Ignore this law at your peril. Now, my friends, is law number 10. The 48 laws of power. Avoid the unhappy and the unlucky at your own peril. I hope you enjoyed. The next video will be Rich Dad Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Questions, comments, concerns, leave them in the comments below. We're all gonna fucking make it. This is Rat Life University. Anyone can escape. It starts with belief and the courage to pursue, dude. The courage to say it's my fucking fault. The courage to take action, to try, to fail, to put your walls down, to quit bleeding on people who didn't fucking cut you. Courage to pursue. That we are all